Hello, everybody. It's Mr. Yamas again. I don't know what number lecture this is. I don't know what day we're at. Actually, I do. But let's get started with the rise of dictators. World War One now ended, right? But a lot of these people and a lot of leaders are going to be very upset with the outcomes of World War One, which means that they're not gonna like what happened after World War One in their countries. Some of them are, but some of them are not, and that's why we're gonna see these rise of dictators. Okay, these rise of dictators, uh, again, because there was a global depression. Okay, the 1930s led to high unemployment. The Treaty of Versailles created bitterness. Again, many nations didn't like what was happening in their countries. Democracy was not fixing the problem. So elections and republics and leaders were not fixing anything. So they said, oh, well, what do we do? So then people started to come out. And these people started to say, I am your savior. I can fix these problems. I can fix these issues. We don't need whatever government it is. We just need this, and that. And people said, all right, let's do it. Let's go ahead. And so, who are these saviors? For example, they're going to be nationalists. They're going to have extreme sense of pride for their country. And these five leaders right here are going to say, I can fix the country. They're fascists people. They're totalitarians, which means that there are going to be leaders that control all aspects of government and the lives of the citizens. They're going to promise jobs. They're going to use propaganda. They're going to censor, and they're going to deny liberties. But people are going to say, yes, this person knows what they're doing. And so if we choose them, if we put them up there, they're going to fix everything. And some of them will. We're going to see that some of them are. But they're going to control everything. And that's what we call fascists and totalitarians. Fascists are people that believe in one rule, that they believe in the nation and the race. For example, Mussolini and Hitler, they're going to be like, we are the number one country. That's nationalism, extreme sense of pride. So you're going to have Benito Mussolini of Italy. You're going to have Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union or Russia. You're going to have Adolf Hitler of Germany. You're going to have Hideki Tojo of Japan. And then you're going to have Francisco Franco of Spain. So most of the European countries, because these countries are going to be shattered by economic problems, these people right here said, I promise you I can fix it. And yes, they're going to fix it. Some of them are going to fix it, but they're going to become dictators. Okay, they're going to become fascists right here. So Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union, he takes over after Vladimir Lenin dies. This guy right here, he takes over. He's a communist. And communists or communism believe that they need to seize all the property, farms, and factories and control the economy and create equality. Everything falls under the government control. And the government is going to tell you what needs to be produced and what you need and stuff like that. So that's communism. Everybody is going to work the same. Everything's going to do the same. He's going to use the secret police. He's going to do the great purge to eliminate rivals. So, for example, if you came out and you said, hey, the people want iPhones and we should produce iPhones. Well, Joseph Stalin would be like, thank you for your comment. And you turn around and then he'd give the signal, cut his throat. And then he would go and kill you because you're going against his vision. Okay. And his vision is something called the 5-year plan. And so the 5-year plan is to produce industrial and agricultural output. So he would force you to work in the farms or in factories because, again, this is what the people need. He's in charge. And so we need this. And he said we were going to do this in 5 years in Russia. So Joseph Stalin is going to be a dictator, a leader, totalitarian dictator, and he's going to be a communist. And communism is again, everything is controlled by the government or by the person. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody works the same. Everybody gets the same and stuff like that under full government control. And again, if you were against him, then you were gonna die, basically. Eliminate your rivals, sent them to the gulags, and Joseph Stalin killed a lot of people, a lot of rivals as well. You're also gonna have Benito Mussolini in the boot in Italy, and he's going to start as a person that's going to edit a newspaper, and then he's gonna get fired from that newspaper, and then he's gonna start saying, you know what, our country and our nation needs to do more. So he creates the nationalist fascists, which means that the state is above the individual and dictatorial rule. And he starts to control people. He starts to say the country is first. People need to work first for the country. And so he threatened the king of Italy that he would march and he would go kill him. And then he eventually becomes a fascist leader of Italy, or Il Duce, which means the leader of Italy, because again, he becomes the number one person there to start calling, my people are starving, the people want jobs, the people want this, and you're not giving them this. I'm tired of elections. I'm tired of voting for people who are not here and giving us stuff, and they don't give us stuff, so I will do it. So he becomes a fascist leader. And the same way, everybody had to work together, but you had a little bit more liberties, just a little bit. But again, if you said anything against Il Duce or Benito Mussolini, he had a secret police and he was going to go get you. He also controlled the media. Mussolini is always right. So rather than turning on TV and you watching your TV shows and Netflix and stuff like that, you were going to watch Benito Mussolini giving a speech and trying to convince you. And again, it's not that he's trying to convince you. You had to be convinced. If you didn't believe in him, if you didn't believe in fascism, if you didn't join youth groups, for example, here, you had to be a kid at the age of probably 13 or 15, and you had to join already the army. You had to respect him. If not, you're going to get killed. Same thing as this guy right here, but this guy is more fascist. He's not communists. Communists, again, they have all the government under them, and they have all the government under them too, the fascists. But communism, they tell you what to produce, how to work, what to work, how much you're going to earn. Here, you just got to work. And you're going to work because you have to create this for the people and fascism. And the family is the pillar. You have to respect your family. Your family has to be first. Okay? And that's fascism. Again, it's also a totalitarian dictatorial leader. That's Italy. And then we get to the fun one, I think, my personal favorite, Adolf Hitler. Because this guy was very savvy. This guy was very strategic. So, for example, Adolf Hitler, let's know a little bit about him. He was actually born in Austria-Hungary. But he served in Germany. And he served during World War I. He was actually a private, and Hitler, try to guess which one's Hitler here, and he had a bigger mustache at that point. He served in World War I. Hitler, 2 other Germans, and his pit bull took control of the national. After World War I, he comes back because obviously Germany lost World War I, and he comes back, but he comes back angry. And he's like, I don't know why we lost this war. We should have won. And he's super into this whole idea of Germany above all. And again, that is nationalism. This is nationalism, extreme sense of pride for your country. He's very national. Then he comes back and he takes control of the Nationalist Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party. And, a lot of us know it's like, the Nazis. Yeah, but did you know that Nazis is a party, or was a party? And it stands for the Nationalist, or the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the NSDAP there. In 1923, though, Adolf Hitler, the same way that Il Duce here tries to threaten the king, but he was more successful, Il Duce, Benito here, Mussolini was more successful. He tries to do the same thing. And then when he tries to do the same thing in 1923, Adolf Hitler, he's like, you are an enemy of the state, so you're going to be sent to prison. He's sent to prison. And he writes a letter known as Mein Kampf, or a book, actually. Mein Kampf. I actually have this book. I haven't read it, but someone gave it to me. And it basically talks about German nationalism. It basically says, in Mein Kampf, while he was in prison, he writes this book, and he says, Germany, above all, and that's what it's called, Deutschland über alles. It's even part of their national anthem today. Germany, above all, German nationalism. Anti-Semitism. Semitism means anti-Jewish. We are anti-Jews because the Jews came here and they're taking our money away. That's what Adolf Hitler is saying. They're anti-communism. They're anti this guy. Why are you controlling everything and forcing them to work even though they're doing the same thing? And they believe in something called Lebensraum, which is living space. Leben, living space. Raum, space, realm. Okay? They believe in that. Adolf Hitler also has something else because he comes back after prison and he says, you know what? I got to do this better. Okay? I got to do this better. I got to do it more calm and more political. So he tried taking it by force, but then he comes back and he says, I got to be smarter about it. Okay, Adolf Hitler says, I got to be smarter about it. So eventually, all these problems, when he comes out of prison, all these problems start to come out. The Great Depression, right? And actually, Germany was already experiencing that. All these problems, people were starving. The Reichsmark, remember, 1 trillion Reichsmark, mark for $1. It's kind of like, that's ridiculous. So he starts to convince the people through speeches and rallies. And he starts to say, look at here. We are suffering. Why are we suffering? Because of those people that made us lose the war. And he also starts to blame the Jewish people. So he convinces them through speeches and rallies. And people start to say, yes, Hitler, yes, you are right. You are correct. We like this. Okay, thank you. What are you going to do? And Hitler says, I'm going to give each and every single one of you a car. What? And he actually does. He makes cars affordable. The Volkswagen. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the Volkswagen, which is, Volks means people in German, and wagon means car, so the people's car. And he starts to take advantage, right, of all of these problems. And he starts to say, I can fix it. And so, yes, eventually he becomes chancellor. He becomes a president, in other words. And he starts saying, oh, yes, thank you, Congress, let's go ahead and pass this. And Congress doesn't pass it. So then Hitler says, no, you know what? There's problems here in our nation. And then all of a sudden the Capitol blows up and he blames it on the communists. And then he says, I need all the power so that I can make decisions and keep our people safe. So then Parliament says, let's do it, gives Hitler all the power. And then he becomes a dictator or the Führer right here. Eventually, he's going to start taking everything. He's going to making all these decisions for the country. He's going to start building factories, and he's going to start giving a new life to his people, those who support him. If you were a Nazi, you were going to support him, and you were going to have an interesting life too. Eventually, he also is going to start to do concentration camps for Jews and the opposition. And this is what we call the Nazi state. Once Adolf Hitler officially takes over, we start having what we call the Nazi state. So what are the qualifications? Aryan, totalitarian, racial state. So they thought that if you had to be white and have blue eyes in order for you to live here. That's what they call as Aryan, totalitarian. Again, he has complete control. He's going to create something called the Third Reich. Okay, the Third Reich is this state right here, the Nazi state. Going to be all about Nazism. It's going to be all about working hard for your family. It's going to be working hard for your nation, nationalism. And he's also going to create something called the Schutzstaffel, or the SS, which is a secret police. And just remember the first S stands for secret. Okay, the secret police. And the secret police is going to hunt down Jews, and it's going to hunt down enemies of Hitler or the Nazi state. Similar as them and them. Their secret police here is stuff like that, and the OVRA here in Benito Mussolini, Italy. They're going to do the exact same thing. He's going to start doing public works. Public works project means anything that has to do with helping the public. So, for example, building sewer systems, building roads, building houses. He's going to start giving grants. He's going to do the rearmament program. He's going to start giving the idea, hey, you got to build a tank, a plane, more bullets, more ammo, more this, more that. He's going to lower unemployment. So, like I said, he's going to keep his promise. He's going to give the people jobs. He's going to use propaganda in media. Okay, propaganda in media. He's going to try to convince people, hey, this is how it goes. This is how life is. If you see something, say something. He's going to create the Hitler Youth. So, literally, he's going to start convincing students and children from the age of 6, 7, or 8, or even younger to start joining the Hitler Youth and start understanding the vision for Germany. Women in the household, but women also had a little bit more rights. Anti-Semitic policies, again, anti-Jewish policies. Nuremberg laws and the Kristallnacht. So Nuremberg laws are these laws that started saying that we're going to target these people. And the Kristallnacht was the day of night glass, which is where they shattered Jewish businesses. They went and they started to destroy Jewish businesses. Crystal, glass, Nacht, night. So on and so forth. And that's the rise of dictators. I was just going to go really quick on these because of the time here. So if you have any questions, Please tell your. I'm not gonna go over these two. Hideki Tojo of Japan and Francisco Franco of Spain. I'm not gonna go over them because they're gonna do similar stuff. But this guy's gonna do it in Japan. This guy's gonna do it in France. Okay. So any questions? Please tell your teacher.